Why didn't I just walk away? That's what this defendant said to the police the night that she stabbed her husband, Luis Medina, without justification, causing him serious bodily injury. She stabbed him with a knife that she decided to grab from the kitchen. She then went outside, stabbed him in the neck, rather than just walking away. In July of 2020, Lucy and Luis Medina had been together for about 20 years. They got married in 2001. They were living together in Lawrence. They both had children from previous marriages. They were together for a long time. And in July of 2020, I think we all remember during the height of COVID, being cooped up in our houses, having nothing to do, trying to find things to do in July of 2020 during the height of the pandemic. And one thing that Luis and Lucy did on July 17th, 2020 is drink alcohol. They were outside, out on their patio. It's a Friday night. They're sitting on their patio behind their apartment, hanging out, something that they regularly did. They're drinking beers, tequila shots. An argument starts. An argument starts, you'll hear from an interview with the defendant about their children. An argument that started between two people that had known each other and together for over 20 years, fueled by alcohol, as well as the family issues that was the source of their argument. You're going to hear, as I said, that Miss Medina was drinking beers. That night, before she stabbed Mr. Medina, she had more than 5 beers, along with tequila shots. And you may very well hear that Luis was physical with the defendant on this occasion, that he hit her. You very well may hear evidence of that. And of course, the defendant is allowed to take reasonable measures to defend herself if she's being attacked. Nobody's questioning that. But what I ask you to keep in mind throughout the course of this trial, what I would suggest is an extremely important thing to remember, is that whenever somebody, like in this case, takes a knife and stabs somebody, they have to have proper justification. And they cannot do what is more than reasonably necessary in the moment. The court, Judge Frazier, at the end of this trial, will give you full instructions on self-defense, and I don't want to substitute for that. But I ask you to keep in mind, when you hear the evidence, when you listen to Ms. Medina's interview, when you see photographs, when you hear about Mr. Medina's injuries, that's what I ask you to consider. Did she take reasonable steps to leave the argument? And did she have justification? I suggest to you that that this evidence during this trial will show that she did not. She made a choice to go in the kitchen, grab a knife, and stab him in the neck. Well, Luis is still standing outside in the midst of that argument, out on the patio, drinking beers, drinking tequila. This defendant makes a decision. She goes through the back door into her apartment, basement apartment in the building where they were living, down the stairs into the kitchen. She opens a silverware drawer. She grabs a sharp knife out of that silverware drawer. She goes back outside. She goes back to the argument. She stabs him in the neck. And you're going to hear that she felt terribly about stabbing him. You're going to hear that she called 911, that she was trying to help him, that you're going to hear that she's distraught, extremely upset on those 911 calls. Again, no one is disputing that she was upset about what she did to Mr. Medina. But that does not change the fact that she did not have justification for stabbing him in the neck. You're going to hear from the investigation that took place after the stabbing that first responders, police, crime scene technicians arrived at the scene in order to collect evidence and just find out exactly what happened. There were attempts to talk to neighbors to see if there were any witnesses since it happened outside. There were no witnesses to this other than Mr. and Mrs. Medina. No one saw what happened. No one observed any of the argument. Again, the only people who could tell us exactly what happened is Mr. Medina and, of course, Miss Medina herself, which you will see in the recorded interview that she gave with the police the night of this incident. And as I said, you're going to see pictures of the scene. The amount of blood that was coming from Luis's neck, the blood trails from the patio, through the door, through the hallway into the kitchen. You're going to see blood on the faucet in the kitchen, blood on the cabinets. And this blood was from this serious injury that Miss Medina inflicted on Mr. Medina without justification by stabbing him in the neck when she could have just walked away by her own admission. They, of course, tried to interview Luis to get his side that night. He was seriously injured. He was in surgery. They were not able to get his story. And you may very well hear during this trial that they were unable to get his story at all. And you may not hear from Luis Medina during this trial. But again, if that's the case, I'd ask you to consider, notwithstanding not hearing his full side of the story, the circumstances, the blood at the scene, the chaotic nature of the scene, the defendant's statements, the fact that there was one knife, one deadly weapon found, or ever even alluded to. That kitchen knife, that sharp knife that was found on the ground on the patio after the defendant stabbed Mr. Medina. You're not going to hear about any other deadly weapons or anything like that. Based on Luis's injuries, the condition of the scene, the weapon, all of the circumstances, the statements the defendant gives that very night, you're going to see that the evidence shows again that she stabbed him without justification. She did not take reasonable measures to leave the situation by her own admission. And as I've stated, you're going to see her interview. And you're going to see how distraught she is. Nobody's denying that. Nobody's denying that she was upset after she stabbed him. But two things can be true. She can be upset for what she did, and what she did was still wrong. And again, no one's disputing she can take reasonable steps to defend herself, but leaving the argument, going into the kitchen, opening that silverware drawer, grabbing the knife, going back outside, connecting with him and stabbing him was completely without justification. And I'll ask you again, and I ask that you consider throughout the trial as you hear this evidence, why didn't she just walk away? And at the end of this trial, I'll have the opportunity to address you again, and I'll ask for a verdict of guilty on the charges. Thank you.
He beat her. He beat her up. He beat her down. He beat her into subservience. Just that night. He beat her constantly. Not just a week before, not a month before, not a year before. Beat her for 28 years. He beat her. And he did it constantly. He did it proudly. And he did it until she couldn't fight back. That night started well before that evening. It was 28 years in the making. It was an investment by her husband of power, control, and dominance. He took from her, he robbed from her dignity, her self-respect, her ability to protect herself. That's what this case is about. And she had a right. She had a right that night to say no. Stop. No more. Because she could never speak up or defend herself. It would only get worse. 28 years. This was no different. The punches to the face that night, the battering of her body, it was no different than almost every other weekend in her adult life, you will see injuries and bruises the next day. This wasn't something that was unique or just that night. This is how she lived. The government is asking you to convict her for defending herself. The thing is, they actually don't know what happened that night. They don't know. They interviewed her, and you're going to get a chance, the benefit of seeing her interaction with the police, partially catatonic through it, how distraught she is, and you'll see the bruises that are starting to form. Why? Why? He beats me. He beats me. And you'll hear her tell the police that she got a knife because he wanted her to stop. You're not going to hear her say that she walked up to him and stabbed him. That's a creation of the government. She had a knife to say no more. And we have no idea, they have no idea. They will have no evidence of proof to say she stabbed him. Did he try to take the knife away from her? Was she on the ground holding it to protect herself? Is that how she had the marks and the cuts and the bruises? They don't know. So they just skip to, she stabbed him. They don't have an expert who's going to come in and talk about the wound and say whether it was from an angle or she was on the ground or they were fighting over the knife or he had grabbed it. But what they do have that they didn't tell you is in the medical records when the personnel asked, how did this wound happen? He said, I did it to myself. I did it to myself. So the government is not going to be able to give you any evidence of how this happened. And one thing that really stands out, they're going to make no effort to tell you why it happened. They don't go and speak to coworkers and ask them if those bruises were every month or every weekend for 28 years. They don't get a doctor to evaluate the information or evidence. They don't ask follow-up questions about all the marks and bruises. They just charge her with the crime. And so, although an accused, presumed innocent, has no burden of proof, we don't have to prove anything. They can't prove it, we don't have to prove anything. But we're going to provide evidence to you. Attorney Gina Simonelli Baxter and I are going to take you back through the history of Miss Medina, and she's going to have to suffer through this for the next few days, because she must. But we're going to tell you about what led to her state of mind that night when she needed to defend herself, because you can only understand it if you understand the history. And they are not going to do that for you. They didn't even try. So we have to go back to before Lucy met her husband, Luis Medina. You'll hear from friends of hers. She was outgoing, charismatic, happy. And then things changed. Before I tell you about her meeting Luis Medina, her husband, let me tell you a little bit about Luis Medina before he met Lucy Medina. He was dating another woman, had a child, and guess what? He beat her. It wasn't just Lucy, he beat her. And she escaped. That woman, right before Lucy escaped, and then enter Lucy. She didn't know, but she was going to soon find out. 5 months into their dating, just 5 months, it began. He took her one night to his mother's house in a back room and shut the door, fueled by alcohol, and he beat her. I don't mean he slapped her. I don't mean that he pushed her. He beat her. Her face covered in bruises, her body, the welts, out of nowhere. She had no idea. She wouldn't leave the room for days. Not because she was angry. She was embarrassed. She was humiliated. She wondered what she had done wrong to him. And so she stayed until the wounds began to heal. This would become a routine in her entire adult life. After that 5 months, it continued. They got married. They moved into a home. And he beat her. You're going to hear from witnesses that the government knows about, but they would never will call them. People that work with Lucy Medina. People that knew her over a period of 28 years. And they will tell you, when you hear from them, about the black eyes and the bruises and the scratches in the long periods of time that Lucy didn't come to work. And when she'd come to work, the shawls over her body the hiding of her face, the makeup. And when she was asked, it was always the same. Lucy, what happened? She fell down the stairs. She fell out of bed. She walked into a cabinet, slipped on the ice. Over the next 20 years, Lucy Medina would fall down a lot. And if anybody ever tried to speak to Lucy, she would be guarded and protective. Back at home, it wasn't just physical, psychological. Her hands cramped. Every morning, fresh oranges, freshly squeezed orange juice every day. And get it right, or do it again. And so over that period of time, Lucy Medina psychologically changed. 1 month. She changed. And over those years, she was damaged. You're going to hear from an expert witness, Dr. Zeisel, an absolute expert in psychology, has studied battered woman syndrome, has studied PTSD, has dealt with hundreds of cases, and you're going to have an opportunity to hear from him. And he is going to talk about the psychological effect of the physical and emotional beatings over periods of years. And he had a chance to evaluate not only the facts in this case, he had a chance to listen to the witnesses who will attest to what they saw over that 28 years. He's going to share with you the unfortunate culmination of this damage, PTSD, anxiety disorder. He will talk about what a battered woman is. And a battered woman is Lucy Medina. And he will share with you how this abuse over a long period of time deteriorates someone's psychology. The fear, the panic, it's not if she's going to get beaten again. It's when. How bad. And that night, you can tell from those pictures, she was in the middle of a beating. And they're going to try to tell you, walk away. You don't walk away from those type of injuries. You don't. She couldn't. And so inevitably, you are going to learn, when you consider self-defense, what the frailness and psychology of Lucy Medina was at the time she said, stop. But you'll still never know what actually happened because they don't have a witness. You're not going to hear. You're not maybe not going to hear from Luis Medina. You're not going to hear from him. I'll tell you that right now. But you are going to hear from somebody, a very important witness, and that is Luis Medina's attorney. His name is Attorney Marat Erkan, represents Luis Medina. We're going to call him as a witness because in 2021, Attorney Erkan wrote a letter on behalf of his client, Luis Medina. And that letter was submitted to the government, explaining that Luis Medina has a long-time affliction with alcohol, and he admits that he beats Lucy Medina. He admits about this long-standing battering of his wife. So you're not going to hear from him, but you're going to hear from his attorney. It's not Lucy Medina saying this because it was a bad night. This is a lifetime of abuse. And inevitably, at the end of this case, you're going to learn that this was not a night of violence for Lucy Medina. This was a night of survival. And she had a right. And we're going to ask you at the end of this case to acquit Lucy Medina. Thank you.
Can we approach briefly?
Yes.
Sir, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause now and hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth and only but?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
Yeah, pretty much. So for the record, the parties have agreed and pre-marked 42 exhibits. Exhibit 1 is a thumb drive with the 911 call, and then exhibits 2 through 42 are various photographs. And as I said, members of the jury, you may be shown some of those during the course of this trial portion, but all exhibits will be available when the jury deliberates on the case. Okay. Whenever you're ready, Attorney Burke.
Thank you, Earl. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name?
My name is William Pasquale Colantuoni, spelled Colantuoni.
Where do you work?
the City of Lawrence Police Department,
How long have you been a police officer?
more than 30 years.
What is your current rank or position within the Lawrence Police Department?
My current rank is I'm a sergeant, and I am assigned to the Early Night Detective Division as a supervisor that runs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Could you please briefly take us through sort of your trajectory at Lawrence PD and where you started and where you are now?
Sure. I was sworn in as a police officer in November of 1995. I was academy trained in August to December of 1996. That was the Lowell Police Academy put on by the Massachusetts Police Training Council. And I began my career as a patrol officer on the midnight shift from the end of 1996 to March of 2000. From March of 2000 to January of 2024, I was assigned as a detective to the early night shift. From January of 24 until November of last year, I was promoted to sergeant, where I was on the early night and day shifts as a patrol supervisor.
In total, how long, or when did you first become a detective? I'm sorry, could you?
March of 2000.
Thank you. Turning your attention to July of 2020, could you remind us what was your position in the Lawrence Police Department at that time?
I was a detective, and I worked the 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. shift Monday through Friday.
And it's probably sort of an obvious question, but what sort of things does a detective do?
As a general detective for the Lawrence Police Department, we're tasked with conducting criminal investigations, typically felony crimes.
And I take it you've received training in your years in investigative techniques and collecting evidence and things like that, correct?
I have.
Okay. Specifically, on July 17th of 2020, did you work that day?
I did.
Okay. And at about 8:34 p.m., did Lawrence PD receive a call for an incident on Crest Street?
Yes.
Okay. And at that time, did officers from the Lawrence Police Department respond to that scene on Crest Street?
Yes, they did.
When that call came in, could you tell us what were you doing and sort of how you sort of became involved in that call and the ensuing investigation?
When that call came in, I was actually in the interview room with my radio off because I was interviewing an individual. That interview started at about 8:18 in the evening and followed up at around 8:39 or so. So when I exited the interview room, brought the individual back downstairs, I learned that there was an active scene, and then I was contacted by then Sergeant Duchesne.
So the interview that you were working on, that was something completely separate, correct?
Unrelated to this investigation. Yes.
And when you were sort of done with that responsibility, that's when you found out about this other unfolding event, correct?
Correct.
And what did Sergeant Duchesne ask you to do? Sort of what was the first thing you did to assist in this investigation?
Sergeant Duchesne requested that I stay at the station. They had an active crime scene, a stabbing scene on Crest Street, and that that a female in custody was going to be transported back to the PD, and that I was to coordinate with members of the crime scene services section of the state police and Massachusetts Crime Lab to process the female and collect her clothing, and then ultimately be part of an interview.
Interview with the suspect?
Yes, Miss Medina.
To be clear, did you yourself ever respond to the crime scene at 18 Crest Street?
I did not.
Your role was sort of staying at the station and doing things there, sort of off-site of the crime scene, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did that include coordinating with crime scene technicians that came to the Lawrence Police Department?
Yes.
Okay. I want to jump ahead and ask you, Detective, during the course of this, or did any 911 calls come in reporting what had happened on 18 Crest Street?
Yes,
Did you review any, did you look to see if there were any and review the 911 calls from this incident?
I did. At some point between when Ms. Medina arrived at the PD, when there was some time, I went to dispatch and I listened to two 911 calls.
And why did you do that? Is that something you normally do on investigations?
I do. Whenever possible, I try to listen to any calls that came in to see if it may or may not assist with any part of the investigation.
And you reviewed calls in this case, correct?
I did.
How many 911 calls were placed for this incident?
2.
Who placed those 911 calls?
Lucy Medina.
That night when you were at the station, did you listen to those phone calls?
I did.
Okay. This morning or this afternoon when we met, did I show you a USB drive that had a couple audio files on it?
Yes.
And did those audio files appear to be consistent with the 911 calls that you reviewed in this investigation?
Yes.
Thank you. Has the USB been marked? Okay. Could we mark maybe the slip and I can keep the USB drive in there?
It's been pre-marked, so just when it's exhibit 1, I'll mark it whenever you're done with it.
Thank you so much. All right, so I've inserted a USB drive into the computer. Detective, there are 2 audio files with a bunch of numbers and letters, correct?
Yes.
And those files are the 911 calls, correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would publish playable calls.
That's fine.
Thank you. And for the record, I'm opening up the file, the first one, the end is 0260, W.
And I'll get it.
Still worked, yeah, sorry, thank you. Thank you so much.
Man, what's the address of your emergency? Okay, what's the address of your emergency, ma'am? Hello, ma'am? Ma'am, where's your emergency? Señora, ¿dónde es su emergencia, señora?
Ay, por favor.
¿Qué?
Por favor.
Ok, la ambulancia, entiendo, señora, necesito una ambulancia. Señora, la ambulancia, señora, para enviar la ambulancia necesito la dirección. Señora.
Ay, Luis, por Dios. Ay, Luis, por favor, perdón. Ay, Luis, por favor.
Señora.
No. Ay, Luis, por favor, Luis.
Señora.
Por Dios. Párate.
Sí, está llorando.
Párate, por favor. Ay, Dios mío, por Dios, qué bueno.
Señora.
Párate, Dios.
Señora, confirme la dirección, por favor.
¡Rápido! ¡Mande una ambulancia, por Dios!
Verifique la dirección, por favor. ¿Cuál es la dirección, señora?
Ay, José. ¡Ay, Dios! Luis. No.
Señora. ¿Cuál es la dirección?
No. Luis. No. No. Luis.
Amos, address emergency.
Hey, Speedy, how are you?
Hi.
We got an erratic caller. She keeps on calling somebody else's name. She's asking for an ambulance, but we are not able to confirm. We have not been able to confirm the address. She hasn't really been talking with us.
Okay.
I'm
Is
trying to
it-
get her attention, but she's not responding.
Is it Crest Street by any chance?
I got hitting at Crest Street, but I have 65 meters.
All right.
So, hello, señora.
Por favor, manda una ambulancia, por
All right, just
¿Cuál
send
es
the
la-
police 18,
¿Cuál es la
sorry.
dirección, señora?
Okay, we have the police on the phone right now.
No se me la crees,
Okay.
no se me la
Um,
crees.
She just
Please.
confirmed 18 Crest,
18 Crest.
¿Qué
if they're,
piso, señora?
Please, David.
¿Qué piso,
The,
señora?
Lawrence Police,
Yes.
just to let you know that fire and EMS are there, and they're looking in the window, and that's all they see is blood everywhere.
There's blood everywhere?
Yep. But
Okay.
they can't get in. They don't know
Hey,
what's going on.
Carlos. Okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna be heading over there.
Okay. All right, very good. We have EMS and fire on scene.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Detective, is that first clip from Exhibit 1 that we just listened to one of the 911 calls that was placed by Lucy Medina on July 17th, 2020?
Yes.
And if you know, there were two individuals, sounded like dispatchers talking back and forth. Do you know what that was about? Is that just sharing information?
Correct.
I'm going to play the second clip.
My love. I away 18 Crest Street.
Okay, ma'am.
Oh my God.
Is there a floor or apartment?
My husband is dying, please.
Okay, it looks like, males, she's stating her husband's dying. Okay, ma'am, just stay on the line, I'm connected to the ambulance. Ma'am, stay on the line, it's 18 Crest, is there a floor or apartment?
The ambulance address, emergency.
Hey, Solange, please, you have
Hi.
someone going to 18 Crest, right?
They're already there.
They're already there? Alright, she's
Yeah, they
stating that
just
her
can't get
husband's
in.
dying.
Okay, they can't get in though.
They can't get in? Hey, they can't make entry.
That's why they, the fight is there too, and they can't get in to, so that's why we called
Alright,
you
Let
guys
me
to
just-
go over there.
yeah, it's already been put up. We have
Yeah,
an
no,
officer.
Yeah, I get you. Just, I guess there's blood.
To make
blood
entry.
in there?
Alright. Alright, I'm not getting nothing from her. We have officer on our way.
Okay. All right, everyone's on our ALS has started as well.
Alright,
Okay.
I'm gonna stay on the line with her.
What's that?
I'm gonna stay on the line.
Oh, yeah, okay, you're gonna stay on. Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hold on.
Hello? Hello? Hello, señora. Señora, ¿me puede escuchar? Hello, señora. Hello? Hello, señora. Hello? 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 Hello, señora. Yeah, they're already out there, and fire department's already outside. Do you want me to stay on the line with her? 'Cause she's not even. Okay.
He's conscious. He looks like he's gonna pass out at BMS in the house right now.
Detective, the second audio file that we listened to from Exhibit 1, does that appear to be an additional recording of a 911 call placed by Lucy Medina on July 18, 2020?
Yes.
Eventually, Mrs. Medina was placed under arrest, correct?
That's correct.
And were you still present at the station when was she brought back to the Lawrence Police Station?
Yes, she was.
And were you present when she was brought back?
I was.
When she was brought into the station, where was she sort of brought to? What was there an area that she was brought to?
She was transported by a cruiser by Officer Nova. He pulled into the Sally Port and brought her into the pre-booking area, which we commonly refer to as a as the pink room due to its color.
And when you say pre-booking, what does that mean?
It's a holding area where detainees will be placed prior to booking.
And did you observe Mrs. Medina when she was in the pre-booking room?
I did.
Could you just describe physically what did she look like?
She was covered in blood. She appeared distraught. But most notably, she had a great deal of blood on her.
She was very upset, right?
Yes.
Okay. You stated earlier that you one of your responsibilities was coordinating with crime scene individuals that were responding to the scene and to the station, correct?
Correct.
And did individuals from the State Police Crime Lab arrive to the Lawrence Police Department?
Yes, at different times. The first was Marty Coniff. He's a trooper assigned to the crime scene services section. He arrived first. He photographed Miss Medina in that pre-booking area.
And did he photograph her clothing?
Yes. Prior to his arrival, I had obtained a number of paper evidence bags and had her clothing removed and placed in separate bags by Detective Rivera.
Why did you have her clothing removed?
As evidence.
And obviously she was provided with something else to wear, correct?
Yes, I believe initially was a some form of hospital gown, but later a full Tyvek suit.
And Trooper Cuniff, he's the one who took pictures, correct?
He did.
Were you present when he was taking the photographs?
Yes.
Obviously, we just discussed he took pictures of Miss Medina's whole body, correct?
Correct.
And did he take pictures of specific parts of her body, like her arms and her legs?
Yes.
How was it determined what to take pictures of, or what parts of her body to take pictures of?
From her own words of where she might have had some bruising on her body and face.
And she pointed that out to you and other officers, correct?
Correct.
And did Trooper Cuniff take photographs of the injuries that she pointed out on her body?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have probably exhibit 224. Yeah. You're right, thank you.
Can you see counsel for a second?
Whenever you're ready, turn you on.
So you'll be in
One more time. Sometimes.
It's not true.
Can I accept a little request invitation now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Detective. So we were just discussing Trooper Cuniff took some photographs of Mrs. Medina's body, right?
Correct.
Just gonna publish the.
We have it.
I am, in your honor, may I publish these with the?
You may.
I am publishing Exhibit 2, Detective. Not a great quality photo, but that's But at least does this photograph give fairly accurately depict what she was wearing after her clothing was collected?
Correct.
And obviously, that's what her face and her hair looked like, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Publishing Exhibit 3. Those appear to be Mrs. Medina's hands.
Yes.
Exhibit 4, does that appear to be Mrs. Medina's face?
Yes.
Does that accurately depict what she looked like?
Yes.
Exhibit 5 shows a side profile, correct?
Correct.
Again, does that appear consistent with what you looked like?
Yes.
I'm skipping forward to Exhibit 8. Appears that her mouth is open, correct?
Correct.
Was that because Trooper Cuniff or you wanted to get a picture of the inside of her mouth, if you remember?
Yes. Both.
Exhibit 9. What are we looking at in Exhibit 9?
That is Lucy Medina's T-shirt.
And obviously that was after it was taken off of her body, right?
Correct.
And does that appear to be what the T-shirt looked like when it was taken off of her?
Yes.
Exhibit 10, that's the back of the same T-shirt, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 12, what are we looking at in Exhibit 12?
Mrs. Medina's pants.
Those are the pants she was wearing.
Yes.
Exhibit 13, that appeared to be Miss Medina's bra.
Yes, it does.
And I think you already stated this, but these items, the clothing items, were those collected?
Yes, they were.
Collected for evidence, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 14, that appeared to be Mrs. Medina's hand,
Yes.
top of her hand.
Yes.
Exhibit 17, she pushing up her lip. Do you know why she's doing that?
She complained of pain in that area.
And when she complained of pain, Trooper Connor took a picture of where she was talking about?
Yes.
Exhibit 18, Mrs. Medina's calves and her feet, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit 20, that Mrs. Medina's back.
Yes.
Do you remember when a picture was taken of her back? Was that you or Trooper Cuniff's decision, or did she point that out as an injury? If you remember.
I don't recall.
That's Exhibit 21, that appears to be probably her left arm, right?
Yes.
Exhibit 22 appears to be her right arm, correct?
Correct.
And there appear to be bruises, right?
Yes.
Exhibit 23, is that sort of her elbow and part of her forearm?
Yes.
And lastly, Exhibit 24, is that her other arm?
Yes.
All right. Other than Trooper Cuniff, other members of the lab responded, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember if they did any testing on Mrs. Medina?
They did.
Okay, do you remember what they did?
I believe they swabbed her hands and maybe other parts of her body.
Were you present for a recorded interview between Mrs. Medina, yourself, and at the time Trooper Ulrich?
Yes.
Where did that interview take place?
There's a audio and video recorded interview room on the second floor of the Lawrence Police Department, and that's where the interview took place.
Was that, if you remember, was that after the photographs we just looked at were taken, or before?
Afterwards.
Okay. And during that interview, would you say that you kind of took the lead and asked the questions, or did Trooper Ulrich take the lead and ask the questions?
Trooper Ulrich led the questioning, and I chimed in from time to time.
And not getting into the substance, but she was upset throughout that interview, correct?
Yes.
Was that, can we just mark that for when we're done, we'll mark that.
You graduate college? High school? How's your English? What's that? You're nodding yet? It's good, okay. Do you work? What do you do for work?
I used to work for the Social Security office
Oh, really? In Salem? Or here in Lawrence?
in Lawrence.
Okay. What was your job there?
Dispatch?
Excellent. Do you have any history of mental health illness diagnosed? Did any police threaten you today?
No,
Police treated you well? Did they promise you anything?
no. We okay.
I don't know yet if it's gonna be okay. Last I heard, he's still alive, and I hope he will be. He's in good hands there. Lucy, I'm gonna read what your rights are, and I'd like to talk to you for a little bit so I can understand what happened.
People know that.
They're working on it. I don't know right now. They're hopefully they're gonna have a report for
Listen,
us soon.
right now, I'm gonna tell you something. If something happens to him, I will not be okay. I'd rather be dead.
I'm so sorry.
You know, I did do something like this in my life.
Let me tell you, go over this with you, and then I'd like to talk to you some more.
I want I just want to be, I just want him to be okay because I can't be with myself, or my family, or his family, and my kids.
Okay. Can you do me a favor right now? Just control right now, just so we can talk to you. And then afterward, I know if you're upset, and I would be too. I understand. All right? So Lucy, before we ask any questions, we must understand your rights. Do you understand that? Lucy, do you understand that? Yes? You're nodding your head yes. You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that? You better speak. Thank you. Anything you say can be used against you in court. Do you understand that? Understand that, hon?
Yeah.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions, and I have them with you during questioning. Do you understand that? Understand that? You're nodding your head yes. All right. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before questioning you. Do you understand that, Lucy? You're nodding yes. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you still have the right to stop questioning at any time. Do you understand that, Lucy? You're nodding yes. Do you understand everything I read to you just now? Okay. Is it okay if we talk? Would you do me a favor and just sign that you understand your rights that I read to you right here? You under the influence of any drugs or medication today?
Just alcohol, we're drinking.
How much alcohol did you have tonight?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
I got off work at 3:30.
Okay. You seem pretty good now to me. You don't smell. Do you understand where you are and what's going on? Can you tell me about how many drinks you had? Were you drinking beer?
Beer and shots of
Beer and tequila? And how many beers do you think you had? Take a guess. Give me an estimate.
Drink any more than you normally would on a Friday night or a Saturday night? Or is it more than normal, or is it just a couple drinks?
No more than normal.
Yeah. Well, how many do you think you had? Do you have more than 2? Do you have more than 3? Do you have more than 4 beers? Do you have more than 5? Do you have more than 5 beers? Do you have 6? Okay.
I don't know. I got off work.
Yeah.
Got me out. So we were going to cook outside, and then we did.
You're gonna cook. What were you gonna make?
He made me. He was cooking.
When you're talking about he, you're talking about who?
We ate,
Yeah.
and then we got into an argument
You and Luis? What was the argument over?
about kids.
Tell me about that.
Several things about kids. Honest to God, I don't even know how those things escalated after us.
You got an argument over your kids?
Our kids.
Your kids together.
We have one daughter together.
How old is she?
When
She live with you?
well, she does, but she stays more with my mom.
With their mom?
With my mom.
With your mom? Okay. Was she there tonight? Was there another young woman there tonight? No? Just the two of you? All right. So you over 20 years. How long you guys been together? How long you been married?
Been together for 25 years.
When did you get married?
Got married in 2001, but we were together before then.
You've been together 25 years? Married in 2001? Where'd you meet?
Through my cousin. My cousin introduced.
I'm sorry?
We met through my cousin.
Oh, through your cousin. Where?
You know,
In Lawrence? Okay. What does Luis do for work?
certification.
I'm sorry? I'm not the best hearing you.
Electrician.
He's an electrician? Okay. Has either of you been married before other than each other?
Had a kid before me and I had a kid before.
You had a kid before you met him? How old?
Who?
Your child from before?
Mine is 29.
Is it a boy or girl?
It's a boy.
Okay. And does he also?
Yeah.
And How old is his child?
31.
Is it a boy or girl?
He's a boy.
All right. Does either of those kids live with you? Just the two of you in that house? All right. Have you ever been arrested before? How about Luis? Of course.
Is he okay?
I hope so. I'd tell you if he was dead, and I'm hoping he lived. I don't know how you.
If he dies, you might as well shoot me right now because I can't live with it. I will never live with it.
Let's hope for the best.
That come from my daughter or his family or my mom.
Why did you stab him?
Because he hit me.
He cheated on you?
He hit me so many times.
He hit you? How about that? So what happened?
We were arguing
Okay.
about him comparing my kids to his.
Oh.
And I got very offensive about that. Because you're gonna have his kids are no different than his kid behaves.
Okay. And then what happened?
Next thing I know is that then honest to God, the next thing I remember is him hitting me, like punching me. Then we had a candle on the table, and I threw the candle to defend myself. And he kept hitting me. And then I went to the kitchen and I got a knife. Oh my God.
Where did he hit you?
I don't know.
Do you have any injuries from where he hit you?
No, I think he hit me in my face. I don't know. The next thing I remember was me trying to say that
What happened?
I don't know. I just had to walk away and go upstairs and just let it be. Let it be. Just forget about it. Doesn't matter. Whatever you say is fine. Just let it be. I can't believe that this is happening. I can't believe this is happening. For the love of God.
First today.
But
How many times do you think he hit you?
he hit me twice. That I know.
Where did he hit you with those 2 times that you remember?
I know he hit me in my face, but I don't remember the second
Was
time.
it with a fist or a slap?
Yeah, it was a fist.
Where in the face? I see. Can you show me? Because if there's a mark, I'd like to know. Is he right-handed or left-handed?
I
Okay.
know that I was here and I was here, but I don't remember that.
Is that from him?
I didn't have any bruises before.
Can you pull this down without revealing anything, just so I can see where those injuries are, those bruises?
My lip is.
Can you show me?
Hmm?
Is it okay if I take a picture of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you show it to me? Yeah. Go ahead and
I
close
don't know
it.
if I have anything. I just feel like it's big. It's kind of thing. It's.
I thought I might have seen a mark. Can you pull it up
I don't
again?
know, I just feel like it's really big down there.
Uh-huh. Can't tell if it's blood or move your finger out of the way though. Can you hold it to the corners like this so I can see where the injury might be? Do you have any other injuries you can show me?
Just my fingers. I feel that they are very swollen. I don't know why. Like this finger hurts a lot.
Yeah. Do you have a cut on it?
It's really swollen.
How was that? Well, what happened
I
there?
don't know.
You're not sure? Do you say you have bruises on your shoulders?
They told me that I have a bruise.
They actually.
No, they already got.
Photograph.
Oh, they already took pictures.
Yeah, on both arms, she looked like she had some bruise.
How did those bruises happen? Was it from him or was it something else maybe?
I don't think I have this.
Have you been using any drugs or anything like that? Just drinking? So he hit you in the face and maybe in the body a couple times, and you went in the kitchen during this argument, and you got this knife, and where did you stab him? Where did that happen?
Yes, thing I know is that he's bleeding, and I'm calling 911 and they call 911 like a separate
You try to save him after.
And
Yeah.
then they put in canvas, and I grabbed my purse and I told him, come on, let's go to the hospital.
You stabbed
They kept pushing me.
Lucy, we're trying to understand what happened. Do you
I
remember?
don't know what happened.
Did you remember if you stabbed him in the kitchen when you grabbed the knife, or did you run after him, or what happened?
No. The only thing I remember is like him trying to stop the bleeding. And then I stopped trying to stop the bleeding too. And then I called 911 and they couldn't come. And then I grabbed my purse and I told them let's go to the hospital. And then I called 911 again. And I kept sending him, please, we.
Where was he bleeding from?
He kept from over here. And that's where I tried to stop the bleeding too.
It's just the two of you out there, right? Is that right, Lucy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anybody else home in the house? Was anybody else home in the house, Lucy? Shaking your head now. Has he ever hit you in the past? How often does that happen? You guys fight a lot? You sometimes hit him? He just hits you, but you don't hit him?
It's my mistake. I just had to walk away.
Yeah.
Police armed before Lucy? No.
We went to counseling before.
Yeah.
How long ago?
It's a while.
Did that help? Lucy, prior to today, when was the last time that he was physical with you?
That was a while back. It hasn't happened in a while.
When you say a while, how long are we talking? We're talking days, months, years?
I can't remember the last time, but it's been a while.
Can you give me a general idea about how long of a while? A few years. Okay.
Was that 3 years?
A few years. When did you have the counseling?
That was a while back.
Like how many years did they? A few. Was it before or after the last time he hit you?
No, way before then.
Okay. A few years before that?
No, way before then.
A few years before the last time he hit you?
No, more than a few years.
Like 5 years? 10 years?
I don't know, probably 10 years, or maybe 6, 7 years ago.
So you had counseling 6 or 7 years ago? All right. You guys drink a lot? All the time?
We didn't used to drink that much, but now with all this that's going on, we've been drinking like every weekend.
When you say all this going on, you're talking about COVID-19, just being stuck in the house and stuff?
Yeah.
Is there anything we should know about this that you can tell us that maybe we didn't ask? So just, I'm going to summarize. You tell me if I got it right. So you and Luis have been together for 25 years, and you have a 20-year-old daughter in common. She lives with his mom, mostly, with your mom, mostly. And you guys live together and you're married. And I guess today, after work, you got home from work around 3:30. You had 6 beers or more, plus some tequila, no drugs. And you guys got in an argument over comparing your kids. And then during the argument, Luis started hitting you and punching you at least twice in the face and maybe your body, but you're not sure. And at one point, you ran into the kitchen and you got a knife and you stabbed him. And then you felt bad about it. You called 911. You tried to help him stop the bleeding, right? And then you tried to help him out of the house to go to the hospital. No one else was home at the time. We're just the two of you. And since this COVID started in March, you guys have been drinking a lot on the weekends. Is that what you told me? Is that accurate? Yeah, did I get that right? Okay. Can you tell me how many times when you stabbed him, were you in front of him or were you come up behind him? How does that work? You're right-handed, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think I was behind him.
Where did you stab him?
That him trying to stop the bleeding around here.
You're trying to stop it. So
And
you
that's
got him.
where I tried to stop the bleeding too.
Did
Yep.
he say anything to you
No,
after that happened?
no. He was just, I was just trying to get him up when he, well, oh my God.
Where did you put the knife after this happened?
Oh, I don't know.
Did it happen inside or outside?
It happened outside because then he ran inside, then I ran out, and then I called 911.
Lucy, can I ask you something? When you went to grab the knife, was he still outside? Okay. And then you went back outside?
He was trying, I was just trying to You're not gonna,
What?
just trying to say, no, you're not gonna hit me.
You're not gonna kill me?
You're not gonna hit me.
You're not gonna... You were telling me this.
I'm sure I just walked away, and just let it be, just let it be, just let it be.
How much did Luis have to drink tonight? Was he drunk?
No, I don't think so.
He drank as much as you or less?
No, he had a couple of drinks before he got the beers and the tequila, but he wasn't drunk. I don't think he was drunk yet.
Were you drunk?
I don't,
What?
I don't,
You were there, I wasn't. You think you were drunk or just buzzed, or how do you think you were?
just,
You were just buzzed?
that was, unless I've been drunk, because I've never done something like that in my,
How do you feel right now? You feel,
I feel like I wanna,
I mean, emotionally, but do you feel like you're not drunk now, or do you feel drunk now?
I feel drunk.
You think you're drunk right now?
But if you tell me right now,
Yeah.
I'd rather someone shoot me.
I'm sorry.
I'd rather be dead.
You're not gonna kill yourself on me, are you?
No.
Good.
Do you remember if he was sitting down in the center, or what he was doing when he came back from the kitchen with the knife and went outside?
What did the knife look like? You don't remember?
It's really okay.
Last I checked, he was still alive. I don't know how it's going. We'll have to make another call in a little while. I'm very serious. It's possible that he'll die from this. I don't know. You have to hope that he doesn't. We hope that they stay. Okay?
Lucy, do you remember if you got the knife out of the sink, or out of the drawer, or out of a block? Do you remember if it was out of the sink drawer or something? Lucy?
Do you remember how many times he stabbed him? More than once?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't think.
I'm going to walk you downstairs. Is there anything else we should have asked that didn't, that you want to tell us about this? Oh,
I just feel, I don't know anything else.
all right. I hope he is. 2241. Almost.
It's 11:42 p.m.